Welcome to General Strike News and Commentary. I'm General Strike. Today I want to talk about a serious issue that I feel is being used to manipulate and cause division between the common people. The subject is Black Lives Matter. Color plays a very good role to show how this movement is being interpreted. Some blacks see this movement as a necessity to bring attention to this issue. On the other hand, some whites see this movement as a terrorist group. They do not think there is an issue and loathe the protesting by Black Lives Matter. I believe the Black Lives Matter movement is needed to highlight the problem we have with law enforcement's role in our criminal justice system. I know that there are many good men and women in law enforcement who are serving their communities with integrity. The recent targeting of police across the country in retaliation is heartbreaking. We need this grassroots bottom-up change that I feel Black Lives Matter can give to help improve our criminal justice system. Something that black people know and white people cannot comprehend is the prison industrial complex, which disproportionately affects blacks. With the war on drugs and privatization of prisons, this has become an apartheid of the black community. In 2003, the Bureau of Justice Statistics estimated that black men have a 1 in 3 chance of going to federal or state prison in their lifetimes. About 1/3 of the Americans arrested on drug charges since 1980 have been black. Black people are twice as likely as whites to be out of work and looking for a job. Over the past 40 years, the prison population has increased 5-fold. Everyone is being preyed upon, with blacks being disproportionately targeted. If you live in a city that no longer has industry to provide jobs, you don't generate any money for the corporations. However, if they lock you up in a cage using the war on drugs or mandatory minimum sentencing, you're worth about $40,000 or $50,000 to the private prison industry. It seems like a majority of the white community is finally realizing how detrimental the war on drugs and the privatization of prisons have been on our society. Now back to Black Lives Matter. Many whites interpret the phrase to mean only Black Lives Matter, which is inaccurate. Black Lives Matter advocates would be the first to say all lives matter. However, that is not the point they are trying to make. They want everyone to know Black Lives Matter, which calls attention to the disproportionate and prejudicial treatment of black people by law enforcement, as they are intentionally left powerless at the hands of the state. This country may not have the large racist white supremacy proclivity as we had in the past. However, there still is a deep underlying prejudice on all sides that simmers just below the surface of our society. It's getting better, but it's there. We could all testify to its existence. Black Lives Matter started after the death of Trayvon Martin in 2012. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years since this grassroots movement started. As the years went by, we witnessed many shootings and assaults caught on camera, which had become annoyingly too common. Some of the most disturbing videos for me were the following. The assassination of John Crawford, as he was talking on the phone, holding a product being sold in the Walmart he died in, seemed unreal. To add insult to injury, the police interrogated his girlfriend for 90 minutes before telling her they killed Crawford. They accused her of lying and threatened her with jail time. No charges or disciplinary actions were made against the officers involved. This is why Black Lives Matter. The assassination of Tamir Rice and a police drive-by shooting. All these are disturbing, but this one hits home for me. My childhood years were in the 80s. I cannot count how many times my friends and I walked around the neighborhood with our BB guns shooting just about everything in sight. From street lights to trees to you name it, we shot it. We would play guns and roam the neighborhood in the local park decked out in Army surplus gear, pretending we were fighting the enemy. If killing people with BB guns is the new normal, I'm lucky I grew up in the 80s. Otherwise, I might have been shot on sight playing with my friends in the neighborhood. I remember when the police carried revolvers and the most firepower they ever used was a shotgun. I guess the proliferation of weapons to the USA has really changed things. Now kids who play with BB guns are executed within 2 seconds. Nothing happened to the officer who shot Tamir Rice. They claimed he was asked to drop the gun. They literally drove the car up to him in the grass and began shooting as they exited the vehicle. This is why Black Lives Matter. The next assassination that I cannot believe happened is the choking of Eric Gardner for selling cigarettes. The police approached Gardner after he helped to break up a fight. He had a rap sheet for selling loose cigarettes and was out on bail. So the police escalated the situation to 11 and placed him in a chokehold. As he struggled to yell, he cannot breathe, he eventually died from the incident. Nobody was charged or disciplined as a result of this killing. It's sad when someone has to resort to selling individual cigarettes to make money. It's a sign the capitalist system is not working. Again, Black Lives Matter. The last and most recent incident involves Charles Kinsey, a behavior therapist who was trying to help an autism patient under his care. This one is especially poignant for all those who claim compliance with the police will keep you from getting shot. This man was lying on his back with his hands in the air, telling the police who he was and that neither of them possessed any firearm. He said he was trying to help his patient and that the man had a toy truck. One officer shot at him 3 times, hitting him in the leg. They ended up cuffing Kinsey and leaving him there bleeding until EMS arrived. When Kinsey asked the officer who shot him, "Why'd you shoot me?" the officer said, "I don't know." No charges have been filed, but they just suspended the officer and the police commander for alleged fabrications of their story. They're claiming they actually shot at the autism patient and accidentally hit Kinsey. They said they were trying to protect Kinsey from being shot by the patient. If that was the case, then why would they have handcuffed Kinsey and left him there bleeding out on the streets? These officers need to be held accountable for this. Kinsey went above and beyond any compliance with the police in that video, but they still shot him anyway. Black Lives Matter. So where do we go from here? Nobody wants to feel oppressed by the people who are there to protect them. People need to understand the Black Lives Matter movement is not their enemy. Yes, there have been some protests that inconveniences some people by temporarily shutting down roads. They have to get our attention. No movement or protest has ever made any impact by standing in a corner away from the public. You have to get in and get it in the face of the public. You have to get in the streets and call attention to the cause. This has to be done as peacefully as possible. Otherwise, opponents will use any violence to discredit the movement. They will even go so far as to implant agent provocateurs to destroy the movement from within. If you don't believe me, Google COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program the FBI used. I could see the propaganda being waged against Black Lives Matter right now. Black Lives Matter has the nation's attention. What they do with that attention is yet to be determined. If they use their political capital to bring about change through local, state, and federal elections, I think they could have a huge impact on the criminal justice system going forward. It's been 4 years and the movement has our attention. My advice to them would be start focusing on elections. Use your numbers to turn out votes throughout the country. Begin putting in place officials who share your vision. Keep steadfast and strong against propaganda and continue to call for peaceful protests when future events develop. Expand your influence by adopting other issues related to your cause. The working class and poor need your voice to shed light on the decades of oppression. My advice to anyone who thinks Black Lives Matter is a bad movement for America is this. Understand that Black Lives Matter is not against you. Black Lives Matter is not against police, even though opposition propaganda is trying to make that case against them. Black Lives Matter doesn't want anyone assaulted by law enforcement. Yes, there have been some protests that had provocative chants against police. Do not let those isolated chants label the entire movement. Black Lives Matter is not your enemy. The system is rigged. The statistics show how we have turned imprisonment into another commodity. If Black Lives Matter succeed, it's going to make our criminal justice system better for everyone. Law enforcement will do more community policing. They will work to de-escalate the situations instead of turning the knob to 11. They will go back to saying, drop the gun instead of shooting first and asking questions later. I know that doesn't take and affect all situations, but they could do a better job, especially in the cases that I mentioned earlier. There's no reasons they had to shoot those people, especially Kinsey, who had an ongoing conversation with them before they shot him. Nobody could say how the Black Lives Matter movement will evolve over time. Most importantly, don't judge a group by its worst followers. That's true in life. This is my take on the Black Lives Matter movement. If I offended anyone, that was not my intention. If you disagree with my opinion, let's agree to disagree without becoming enemies. I want all working class and poor to have the opportunity at a good life. In my view, the Black Lives Matter movement will be observed in a positive light in the future. I'm General Strike. Thanks for watching General Strike News and Commentary.